All right. Welcome, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers. It's your only friend, these YouTube streets, Porter Rock 77, back with another video. And hey, lately the industry's crazy, right? This is just wild. But now we come to find out why Game Pass or why Microsoft claimed that Game Pass is profitable. Well, the truth is, the main reason why Microsoft and Phil Spencer said that, Game Pass is a profitable subscription service. It is profitable and sustainable, is because they never counted first party development costs as part of the program or as part of the business model. Right. So, right here, this is Charlie Intel, paraphrasing Chris Dring. Microsoft has reportedly now stated that Xbox Game Pass is only profitable as a service if you don't include the cost it takes to develop their first party games. Previously, the company said the service was profitable, right? So this is from Chris Dring. Chris Dring is editor in chief and co-founder of the game business, right? Um, he was also working for one of the companies that track sales starts, whatever. But this all came from him. He's the one that said pretty much that Microsoft, he got it directly from Microsoft that they do not include the development costs of first party games. Now, why is this important? Like, what does that mean? They don't include the development costs. Well, it's like this. Everyone assumed that, with the money Game Pass generates, with their subscription model, the money that they get, reoccurring revenue that they get every single month, that a portion of that money will go back into development of their first party titles, right? So let's say, for example, Starfield. Let's say if Starfield costs $200 million to make, right? They put Starfield on Game Pass day and date. Whatever revenue or playtime, whatever metric was being used, or what we thought was being used, a portion of the money that's generated in Game Pass will go back to the studio. Now, not all 200 million, obviously, right? Because Starfield still got game sales from its own console and, of course, PC and stuff like that, right? So the game sales they thought, will be probably a good portion of the revenue, and then whatever they get from Game Pass. But that is not the case. Starfield, Call of Duty, Hi-Fi Rush, whatever game goes on Game Pass, they do not get anything back. So Game Pass is not responsible for any development costs of their own first party games. This makes absolute sense now. Now we got to look at hindsight, right? Because remember when Hi-Fi Rush had like 2 million good Metacritic score, and it was a day one drop, a stealth drop, and everybody's like, oh, look, it's great, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, Microsoft shut down TangleWorks and got rid of the game. And everybody's all confused. They're like, wait a minute, this game, 2 million people played it on Game Pass, blah, blah, blah. It's because Game Pass put no money. There was not $1 of Game Pass revenue went back to TangleWorks. I think that's the studio, right? TangleWorks Studio, to help develop, Hi-Fi or anything like that. No first party game from Microsoft is getting money from Game Pass. Not a single one. So now when we look at the jokes, right, of Xbox saying that PlayStation is helping Xbox gamers get games, PlayStation gamers are doing their part to fund games, that's no longer a joke. What started out as a joke and as a shot to PlayStation gamers, no, that's facts. Because these first party development games, they only get money through sales. Not a single dime comes from Game Pass. That means if these games don't sell, it doesn't matter how many people are playing it on Game Pass. You could get 10 million people to play the game on Game Pass. But if it's a sales flop, that game is done. Microsoft is shutting it down. Microsoft first party games is 100% reliant on sales. Game Pass is not responsible to provide any funding, any money, any revenue, nothing to its first party development costs. So now when you guys say PlayStation gamers are help funding the game, or even PC gamers that buy the games on Steam, you are absolutely right. Because you Xbox gamers that are playing these games on Game Pass, you are doing nothing for the game. Because not a single penny of your subscription dollar is going back into the development. Now, listen, I'm not here to chastise you guys, saying, ha, you should have bought your game. No. Listen, this is not your fault. All right, this is not this. I mean, I know people could talk trash and want to make fun of the Xbox fanboy, but the reality is the Xbox fanboys didn't know this was happening. You know, even the most hardcore Xbox fanboy thought that some money from Game Pass would go back into game development. Nobody knew, but Chris Drink did, right? So why he's saying this now? Well, if you haven't been paying attention to social media, there is now newfound hate for Microsoft. They just laid off 9,000 people, shut down studios. Even top 10 pole IPs have been shut down, aka Forza Motorsport. That's one of the legacy three of Xbox. Halo, Gears, and Forza. Halo, Gears, and Forza. Well, Forza's gone. At least the Motorsport, the one that started it all. Horizon's still sticking around, but Forza Motorsport, you know, the actual competitor to Gran Turismo, maybe not a good competitor, but it was still a competitor. It's gone. And I think the industry is sick of Microsoft. All the developers, all the gamers, they tried to hold it back a little by little because they thought Microsoft was going to do a good thing, right? Microsoft recently reported that, you know, profits are great and Xbox is getting stronger and the gaming division is getting stronger and stronger than it's ever been. So everybody's thinking, okay, you know, Microsoft's making all this money, it's getting better. Yeah, they're going to fund games. You know, all these developers have a good career. And Microsoft just wiped them out. You know, 9,000 layoffs, studios shutting down, projects being canceled, tentpole IPs is gone. And everybody's just had enough. They're just sick of it. So now they're letting all the skeletons out in the closet. All of it's out. Everything. And now we finally learn Game Pass is only profitable because Game Pass doesn't fund new games. That's like Netflix not using Netflix subscription, the revenue they get from the subscription to fund new Netflix content. Yo, this is wild. This is absolutely wild. So yeah, if Game Pass is not responsible to help make new games, yeah, I can see it being profitable, you know? But as far as your studios, you guys are screwed because at this point, it has nothing to do with how many people are playing the game on Game Pass. Absolutely, it's 100% reliant on sales. And if the game doesn't meet those sales metrics, it is gone. It doesn't matter how many of you are playing on Game Pass. Like 20 million people could be playing on Game Pass. But if it only sells 1 million copies, that game and division, you know, that developer studio is gone. This is absolutely wild what's happening. You know, Game Pass does not fund new games. And apparently this was supposed to be the future of gaming. What is the point of Game Pass subscription if it doesn't help fund new games? How are you going to get new games? Well, you're going to get it through sales. But if everybody keeps signing up for subscription and less people keep buying the games, how do you get new games in a world where people primarily consume their games through a subscription service and not by buying them? Yet you have to rely on purchases to help fund new games. It's an insane metric. This is absolutely dumb. You know, the subscription service should be, you know, a portion of the revenue should be going back to the developers to help fund new games, but it isn't. This is absolutely wild. Anyway, you tell me what you think. Were you one of the people? Because I thought, you know, Game Pass in some form or fashion was funding new games, but apparently not. Are you now concerned, if you're an Xbox gamer, are you now concerned on the future development of Xbox games now knowing that Game Pass has nothing to do with that? You know, and if it doesn't have anything to do with that and it's profitable, where are the profits going? It's going straight to the shareholders. It's going straight to Satya's pockets. That's where it's going. It ain't a portion of it's not going back to gaming, not at all. Anyway, you let me know what you think. Your only friend is YouTube Street Porter Rock 77. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and membership opportunities is available. All right, check out the playlist so you can see all the contents that you missed over the last couple of days. It's right there in the description box. Enjoy.
Grand opening